Hey guys, Mihir, am I audible?
Yeah, Tanishka, you're audible.
Yeah. Okay, thank you all for waiting. We have our speaker here, so we'll start quickly. I think you have all waited for a long time. So I'm Tanishka and I'm the lead at DSC VIT Pune. So just to start with what exactly is DSC? So basically Developer Student Clubs are university-based community programs, mainly for students who are interested in open source or specifically Google Developer Technologies. So last year we had DSC where we had conducted amazing events and fests like Cloud Fest and Explore ML workshops where we had trained around maybe around 500 to 600 students. And then we had more amazing sessions on actions on Google, Flutter, GitHub. Well, that was all physical sessions. Now, this is the first time we are going to have a virtual session. So, the reason we are having this speaker series is that the motto of DSC is to help students to bridge the gap between theory and practice. And to achieve this, we thought that let the theory and practice be a bit of out of the box and a bit of more than the theory you already know. So here we are. I, on the behalf of DSC VIT Pune, introduce you to the EMBARK 2020. It's a series of talk by industry experts, and I shall be relieving more about the upcoming talks post the current talk. And I know you all are very excited and eager to hear from Akshay. And hey, Akshay.
Hey Tanishka.
So we are very humbled by your presence and the fact that you have accepted our request despite of your hectic schedule. And now I'll hand over the stage to you and Mihir. Mihir is the Flutter and Machine Learning Head at DSCVIT Pune. So the audience is going to enjoy for sure, and I hope you have a great experience. You can.
Yeah, thanks, Tanishka. Thank you for your introduction. So, hello, guys. I'm Mihir and I'm a machine learning enthusiast, and I'm also part of DSC VIT Pune. And I'm very excited for today's session. So, today with us, we have a very special guest, Mr. Akshay Kulkarni, and I'll introduce him for you. So, he is an AI and machine learning evangelist, an author, a speaker, and he's also a mentor. He's a Google developer expert in machine learning. He has consulted several Fortune 500 and global enterprises for driving AI and data science related initiatives. Akshay is a part of Sapient's core data science team, where he's a part of strategy and transformation interventions through AI and various machine learning, deep learning, and NLP related state of the art techniques. He's a regular speaker at major AI and data science conferences, and he has also published two books on data science and machine learning with Pact and Appress. And currently, he's also authoring a book with O'Reilly. And I'm sure most of the machine learning enthusiasts with me know the prestigious publication O'Reilly. And he has also delivered 300 plus tech talks on data science and AI in various conferences and technical institutions and community arranged forums just like these. And he's also a well-known speaker at O'Reilly AI conferences. So, hi Akshay, thank you so much for joining us today. Uh, if I missed something, you can add to it to your introduction as well.
No, Mihir, thanks a lot for the detailed introduction. Probably that was not required. Anyways, uh, yep, proceed. Thank you.
Y- Yeah, sure. Thank you for being here today. So, also for the people joining us live right now, if you have any questions or queries, feel free to put it in the comments, and we'll be answering those uh, as at the end of the talk. So, Akshay, before starting the session, we all just wanted to know about your journey and what got you in this field of AI and data science initially, and your journey till now as like Google developer expert in machine learning.
Maybe I'll go back to my graduation days. So basically, I'm a mechanical engineer. When I was in my third year or so, there was a subject called operation research. So probably once who are doing their mechanical or related degree, they'll understand what operation research is all about, right? So when I was working on one of the projects related to operation research, I got an opportunity to implement one of the project for one of the startups in Bangalore, and I was in third year then, right? So
Mhm.
we took almost couple of months to implement this, and finally we saw it live, and I could see its impact and value that has created for the business, right? So I would say it was one of its kind. After 3 years of learning, whatever I learned is creating a value for the business. Maybe
Yeah.
if I talk in mechanical engineering language, maybe if I've learned how turbo machine works, how different kind of engines work, probably I was not sure how do I implement this learning, where do I implement it, how do I create a value. But then for this particular subject, whatever I implemented, I could see its value then and there. So it was thrilling and exciting to see the work which I did for almost a couple of months is saving almost 30% of the operating cost for a company every month. This isn't it like huge? I was like, wow, this is incredible. And I
Yeah,
realized
exactly. Yeah.
I should be doing something like this. So basically, then it was all like solving a problem. Give me a problem, I would like solve it. Maybe you can use a simple math, maybe you can use simple algebra, maybe you can use machine learning, maybe you can use programming or any other logic for that matter. So yes, yeah, that was a turning point for me. So then I started talking to people, connecting with industry experts, and exploring the roles that involves logical thinking, problem solving, experimentation, curiousness, all of
Hmm.
this, right? Where you're part of technology, implementing coding and all of it, and also you're part of business where you're solving and creating impact, right? Then I heard
Yeah.
terms like analytics, data mining back then, right? There was no data science as such, it was all analytics, data mining, right? So then I started
Hmm.
exploring all of this, then I started learning all of this. Yes, that's how my journey started, and I have been part of 3 organizations post graduation, helping business solve their problems using statistics, math, machine learning, deep learning, and all of this, and eventually creating an impact. Right now, I'm sure, yeah, that's pretty much about how got into this field. But if you ask me, right, what it takes to be a data scientist, or who can be a data
Hmm.
scientist, this is a question which everybody come across. At least I hear this question at
Right,
least
right.
once in a day, uh, from aspirants, right? And definitely everybody here would have heard that you should be good in maths, you should be good in algorithms, you should be good at programming, algebra,
Linear
whatnot,
algebra.
and number of things, right?
Right.
But I have a kind of different perspective. Like, if you ask me, all it takes is passion, curiosity, zeal to learn, maybe a bit of logical thinking and structured way of thinking. Like, trust me, all you need is this to be a data
Yeah,
scientist.
that's a great tip of advice. And like I really liked your journey. Like I didn't know that like you started from mechanical and then you shifted by yourself without any like academic help, right? So
Yeah.
that's been a really great and inspiring journey from you. So I hope like most of the people on currently live with us got the answer of how to be a data scientist. And like I would also rather I wanted to ask you one more question, and this is a bit funny one. Yeah, could you tell me like what are your thoughts on machines, or let's say artificial intelligence, taking over humans in some distinct futures and human jobs and replacing all of them?
Okay. Probably,
Because that's the question is currently on like a trend, and
yeah,
like
yeah,
people
and I,
want to know, well, when will machines take over? Will they take over?
yeah, and then if you ask me, right, this question have been asked so many times so far, right? Though I don't have a clear answer, I doubt anybody would have it. But I'll try to put my thought process here. So I'm not sure how much time do we have for this, but I'll go on probably for a brief one here, right? So
Yeah,
so
that's
today,
yes.
the AI technology is being used to perform tasks that range from trivial to monumental, right? Whether it's enhancing the mobile photography with AI cameras, or financial asset management. It has some truly amazing applications in various fields of human life, right? But as the
Right.
applications of AI increases, more and more people are starting to wonder if it is going to erase the importance of human skills. And that's what you're pointing here, right? So
Yes.
uh, I mean, I'll talk about that, but before that, right? uh, if you ask me, AI automation has two sides to it, like different sides of the same coin, right? Everything has its positives and negatives effects. That is evident. Artificial intelligence is not an like exception. Even this has both positive and negative sides of it, right? It
Right.
has like its application ranges from extremely good to severely bad as well. And these effects need to be observed and analyzed closely before making any assumptions about the long-term effect of AI in the society, right? Maybe I'll talk about few positives and negative side, right? So there are many facets of the positive sides for AI, from speeding up mundane tasks to enhancing the inner working of bigger industries, right? The
Right.
analytical predictive power of AI has proven its valuable assets for many industries, right? Be it predicting the weather forecasting, stock market, be it any accuracies of AI technology. It's like growing as our data is growing every day, right? And similarly, on the
Yes.
other hand, AI has been like more dangerous sometimes. And I don't want to call out few examples, but yeah, you might have heard maybe in the medical industry, maybe in few of the financial markets and social media. So there are a few, I would say, negative side to it as well. But yes, uh, maybe if you want me to conclude anything from whatever I said so far, I'll say that human beings have created AI. I believe everyone agrees with this, right? Even though to
Yes.
greater extent we made our attempts to kind of replicate the human intelligence into machines, but trust me, we are still not there. We haven't even reached the halfway
Mm.
to it, right? So yes, AI.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
if you ask me, will AI replace human beings? I would say yes, definitely in some jobs or in some industry, it would definitely replace, but not in every industry, right?
Yeah.
So
Right, sir.
maybe
Right.
I'm not sure how many of you have heard this news, which was published maybe 2 to 3 years back from now, where Google CEO Sundar Pichai was talking in one of his key IO note, where he certainly mentioned that he's gonna invest big on AI, some million, some billion amount on AI,
Hmm.
right? And the very next day, most of the news publishers published it as Sundar Pichai is investing in Air India.
Hmm.
I'm not sure how many
Hmm.
of you have heard of it, right? So,
Yeah.
so as a human, and actually, what Sundar Pichai meant was artificial intelligence and not Air India. But then, as a human, when we can make such, I would not say mistakes, but it was a blunder to be published, right? But now machines are capable to tackle that. I'm not sure how many
Right.
of you have heard of word embeddings, word to vec, and all of it. The deep learning techniques which have been coming in recently, they're able to capture all the semantics.
Right.
Where if you
Right.
talk
Yes.
about AI, it will understand who. Since Sundar Pichai was talking about all machine learning and all of it, yes, AI means artificial intelligence. Yes, machines have been capable to understand that. And you guys must have been interacting with all your smart home applications like Siri
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Alexa.
Google Home.
They are doing
Yes.
wonders for you, right? So yes, I mean they are doing great jobs, but still with some restrictions, with some limitations, right?
Right.
So I
Yes.
mean, if you ask me, yes, with enough regulations and limitations, we can be prepared if an AI takeover ever comes into play, even though there needs to be a proper regulatory laws in AI industry that includes law
Hmm.
about how AI is trained, used, and how it affects the users.
Right. Right. Yes.
So yeah, that's my take. I'm not sure if that answers your question. Yeah.
Yes, so that definitely, like we, any person cannot right now tell exactly what will happen. But yeah, every side, everything has two side, positive and negative. It all depends on us how we take it. And yeah, we just had this question because let's say open organizations like OpenAI are coming up with like fabulous language models like GPT-3. They are doing
Yep.
like wondrous things and replacing like many manual tasks. So that the
Yep.
questions naturally arises like will they even replace developers someday? So yeah,
Yep.
I just wanted to know your views on this. And yeah, I think that answered my question to a good extent. So I guess that's all from our side. And I think uh, we should start with your session and start with your valuable tips for us.
All right, yeah. I think already we are past time, and let me quickly just share my screen.
Yes, sir.
So let me know once the screen is up.
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Okay, I think we are good to start then. So yeah, my I think introduction is not required. Mihir has like given a good introduction. So I would keep agenda a little short for today, and maybe we can have follow-up sessions to uncover more and more details about what we talked today. Right. So probably people who are new to AI and ML world, I'll just try to give an introduction, what it is, how it is, and how it's growing, and then we will get on to the important focus area for today, which is problem to solution, the gap. Right, I'm trying to build a a bridge here wherein you guys are implementing, learning a lot of things around machine learning, deep learning, a lot of it. But when you actually get onto the ground, how the reality looks like, how ML and AI has been leveraged in the industry, in the businesses, right? It's not just always about model.fit. It's not always about you downloading any data set from Kaggle
Mhm.
or MNIST and then just running through the model and building them and all of it. No, it's not just that, right? And then we'll try to unlock few of the use cases wherein we go from problem to solution, and then few of the industrial applications, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
coming to the introduction part, I'm not sure if audience would be able to comment, but I'm sure everybody here, or most of them at least, would have heard of these. Sentiment analysis, fraud detection, Netflix recommendation, Amazon recommendation, Facebook, stack suggestion, web search results, self-driving car, right? Maybe if anybody wants to go deep dive into one of these, you can just pass in the comment. I'll talk about it, but I think it's you are pretty much familiar about all of this. And what do you think are driving these apps or techniques or whatever you see? It's all driven by machine learning, deep learning, and all of this, right?
Right. Yes.
Now, and you must see you must be seeing few business related terminologies like churn analysis, customer segmentation, right? I'll try to uncover few of these as we go along. How many of you have encountered this? Everybody.
Yes, sir.
Have you guys ever wondered what's the math, or what's the logic, or what's the algorithm behind this, and why this is really required, right? I'll just leave it with open thoughts. I'll not answer all of those. I'll just leave it with open thoughts. Again, language translator, grammar checker, text generation. I'm not sure how many of you have encountered this while you're writing any email through Gmail. It will help you recommend what's going to be your next sentence or next word. Isn't it like wow? I mean, at least I've not
Yeah.
seen any of these maybe 2 years back. It's been like 1 year or less than a year. We started seeing all of this on
Exactly.
screen,
Yeah.
right? And if you ask me what's driving all of this, or who is building all of this, it's all into the world of AI, artificial intelligence, right? Now, for people who have a doubt,
Right.
what's the difference between AI? What's the difference between machine learning and deep learning? How these are interconnected, right? If you ask me, AI is a bigger umbrella under which we have machine learning, deep learning, natural language processing, and all of this. Now, your next question would be how data science is related to this. See, data science is something
Right.
different, right? Where you need not, maybe data scientist is not relying on machine learning or deep learning always. Maybe you can use simple math or simple stat to solve something. So data science is something which covers everything: analytics, machine learning, deep learning, artificial intelligence. So data science is a role, or I would say you play around with data to show value to the business. Maybe you use machine learning, maybe you use deep learning, whichever fits into your problem. But the person who uses data to kind of solve a business problem, those are called as data scientists according to my views, right? And if you have seen this
Yeah.
data set clearly, uh, AI is not new, or machine learning is not new. It's there since like maybe 20 years, 30 years. But why people have started talking about very recently? Why not before? And yes, obviously, these are like four pillars or four reasons which is making AI more powerful day and day. Right? The amount of data the organization started uh, kind of storing, and then every company started realizing that data driven decisions are more profitable. We have algorithms to deal with unstructured data now, and one big reason is the ramp in the computing power, the big data, the clouds coming into the play,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And these are like few of the industries who experts who are talking about how AI is going to play the role, right? AI is the new electricity, right? I mean, again, tying back to the question what Mihir asked to me, right? I mean, I'm kind of aligned with what Andrew Ng has said, right? AI is the new electricity. I mean, see, again, if you ask me, and not everyone's home, you would see Alexa or Google Home. At least for this decade or for next uh, 2 3 years. If you go back 50 years or like 100 years, even our ancestors, they did not have electricity as such, but still they lived happily. They did not feel the need of electricity. We are in a similar situation now, where we don't feel the
Right.
need of AI
Until
as of
it was
now.
there.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then, if you ask me, maybe by next 5 years or 10 years, I'm not sure about the timelines. But yes, every home would have Alexa and AI-driven applications. That's the decade we are entering into, right? Mobile first to AI first. And investments, right? This is pretty old slide, but I thought I'll put it because even in 2016, people had started investing in artificial intelligence, a huge amount, right? And in today's world, every other company has started building their own AI capability or data science capability. Coming to the topic for, I think that's pretty much I wanted to cover as a part of introduction for people who are not aware of what AI or ML is. Now, a typical ML or data science process here, right? And people who are into, or who are aspirants, who are enthusiasts, must be aware of this process, right? What every data scientist would follow: define the problem, convert the problem into a data science approach, what we call it as approach formulation. Then you go on with cleaning, processing, feature engineering, model building, tuning, validation, insights, deployment, and all of it. But if you see, I have highlighted the first part and the last part here. The reason I've highlighted is that's the most crucial step for a data scientist. Like Mihir asked, and again, I'm going to the same question. Will AI, we are the one who are creating algorithms and developing and building automated models, but will AI replace scientists as well? Will that happen? Yes, it might happen. Now you might have seen there are a lot of libraries which has come in, which does automated feature engineering, automated data pre-processing, even the model selection as well. Even the business people can do it. Why do we need a data scientist then?
Right. Yes.
Right? Your ML Azure, your Google Cloud, all of these platforms have bring in a lot of these flavors, automated flavors. But then the major or the important part or the important step is how do you understand the business problem? How do you define it? And then convert that problem into a data science solution approach. A very crucial part. Our machines cannot really do it. I'll walk you through the example of that, right? And then you'll realize what should be your focus when your aim is to become a data scientist. Yes, I agree. Coding, implementing, learning Python algorithms is important, but I would still give only 50% weightage to it. and the rest 50% weightage will be given to what I'll talk about in next 30 to 40 minutes. And there's no course for it. You would learn all of this by experience, right? So, I'll throw a problem to you. How do you solve it? Right? When you know, hey, I want to forecast something. Yes, you give me the data. I'll use some of the forecasting technique to forecast it. When you want to predict something, you know what to predict. You give me the data. I'll do it. But what if there is no proper definition for the problem, right? So this is the gap I'm talking about. You have a problem. If you know how to implement it, you implement it and you solutionize it. But what if you don't know your problem really well? And I would say most of the industry or organizations or companies are still facing this problem of defining the problem in the right way, where they end up in investing 3 months of time in building something, and later they realize then, hey, they don't need it. Now, how do we kind of tackle this crucial step? I'm going to throw a simple problem to the audience here. I'm owning a retail company or an e-commerce company, and I'm a CEO of it. I'll reach out to you guys. Let's assume all of you are like, maybe there are hundreds of folks here. All of you are data scientists, and I'll say, hey, I have started my company 2 years back, and in first year it did really well, wherein it increased revenue from like X amount to Y amount in 1 year. But then in last 6 months, I'm seeing decrease in my revenue every month. I'm just wondering why it's happening. This is the problem I have. How would you solve it? You are a data scientist. And as, trust me, every business folk assume that data scientists or AI experts are magicians. They can do anything. This is how problem comes to you. Right now, if you have realized that oh, I'll download a data set from Kaggle, then I'll try to play around with it. I mean, forget about that. You don't even know what data is there. That's how problem comes to you in the real time. Once you get onto the ground, once you are working for any companies or any industries, sit with the business, talk to them. And when you talk to them, all this give is this input. This is happening to my business. Help me save, help me solve this problem. Right? You're trying to understand, or you're trying to get what I'm trying to say here, right? The
Yes.
gap what we have here. This is the problem I have. I don't know whether linear regression or logistic regression or what technique I should use. Whether it's image classification. No one would come to you and say, hey, build me an image classification. All the business people would do is throw a problem to you. You figure out how do you define the problem. Now, how do you define it? That's the next part. So I'll try to unlock few of the use cases pertaining to this problem. Maybe we'll try to understand, explore, and exploit business and data. So that's important. Sit with the business, talk to them, understand the process, understand what data they have, and then arrive at a solution approach, and then probably you can implement it. Right? How many of you have heard of a term churn here? I'm not sure. Like, I'm guessing maybe only 10% of it. But churn is something, maybe let's say you're a regular Amazon user, and someday you realize no, Amazon is not adding value to your experience. What you will do, maybe you'll switch to Flipkart. So you are a churn customer to Amazon, right? So first thing what I'll do is I'll try to look at the data and see if people are not visiting their website more frequently like they used to do in last year. Is it the case? Is it why the revenue is coming down? If yes, I'll try to build a churn prediction model, which is a simple classification model. And then if I realize that, oh, this particular person is gonna churn in next month, I'm gonna send him an offer to retain him. One of such
Mhm.
example. And this you would understand only when you sit with the business and sit with the data to understand what the gap is. Similarly, if you feel no, I mean, customers are staying with me, but what next? How do you kind of send them an offer? I mean, you might have realized that every individual gets a different offer, be it from a telecom giant or be it from a retail giant. How these
Right.
offers are sent out? Again, a customer similarity grouping. You will use any of the unsupervised techniques to kind of group the customers and then kind of use that for your marketing strategies. Maybe you're missing out on improving the user experience. Maybe you would need a recommendation engine, right? So there are n number of such thoughts which would come in or which would play a crucial role when you're trying to define a problem. What is that which is really required for the business given the current situation so that I can improve the revenue? Exploring the data, understanding all of this from the business is I would give 50% weightage to this. From understanding the business concern to defining what needs to be done, to defining the problem. And that you can do only through sitting with the business people and then also looking at the data and exploring and exploiting it.
Right, right.
I haven't even gone through the stage where I'm, cleaning the data, pre-processing it, building the model. No, I've not even gone through that. I'm still in the first step.
Yeah, so basically, this is what machines cannot do, right? So you machines can just like have a problem and we can make them solve that problem. But here we don't even know what the problem is. We just have data.
Exactly. And that's how most businesses are. They don't know. I mean, maybe okay. Let's say I'm running a business and maybe I feel everybody is building a recommendation engine, so even I should be
Mhm.
building it. And that's how even you encounter, right? Maybe one of the stakeholder will come to you and say, "Hey, I want to build a recommendation engine." Because you ask why you want to build that. If you ask that question, they say, "Hey, everybody is doing it. Let me also do it."
Right.
Right? So they don't know. They don't know if that's their actual problem. If building recommendation will help them improve their revenue, did
Right.
we do that analysis? Did we uncover all of those potential use cases? No. So this is what I'm talking about. This is a very crucial step. And for you guys who are just beginner or who are doing the graduation, I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't be learning algorithms, you shouldn't be implementing data sets from Kaggle or your MNIST data set or whatever data set you have as an open source. Do that. But while doing all of that, try to answer yourself why you are doing it, how you are doing it. If I do this, what is going to be the impact? That's how
Right.
you learn, right? So it's not always about problem to solution. Between problem and solution, there is one more crucial step. You have to define the problem actually in a proper way, right?
Yes.
And
Correct. Yes.
similarly, right? Maybe you will see there are a lot of complaints coming into your website, and you there's a person or maybe two-person who is handling all of this email with a lot of the complaints. But what if I can build an email classification to kind of solve this problem? Right, once you know the problem, once you define it, then yeah, it's an easy way out. Anybody can do it. Even analytics guy or a data science guy can just do, clean the data, do the feature engineering and do a model.fit to do the predictions,
Mhm.
right? So again, personalization. I mean if you're good with all of those, if nothing seems to be a problem, do you think I need to enhance my website to improve the personalization based on my past behavior or past activity? Right, so maybe
Right.
previously I have bought a lot of pink shirts or blue shirts, and then I have kind of bought the size 42 based on my past activity, past things. Your website should be capable enough to pre-select all the uh, parameters.
Like
So this will
targeted
kind of,
ads.
yes, yes, this will kind of enhance user experience. They would start liking it. How many of you have encountered this, or they feel the need of this? So I'm getting on to the new kind of problem now, wherein everything is doing good, right? Maybe none of the customers are churning. You're doing. I mean, I'll start from first again, right? None of the your revenue is falling. Agreed, but none of the customers are churning. They are doing really good. Customer segmentation, you have already done it, and you're doing marketing. Done. You already have a recommendation engine in place. You already are fixing a lot of the customer complaints and you are doing good since last 2 months. But and you have also personalization, hyper personalization enabled in your website. What's missing? What's the element you're missing? Maybe you're not catching up with your competitors. Maybe you're still lagging behind technology and the how the world is moving towards. Right? Maybe your competitors have more features than what you have. Maybe that's the thing which is making you kind of fall back against the competitors. That's wherein you will think of what are the other things which will make user experience way, I would say, like, go wow. At least to me it happened, right? I felt a lot of times, why don't we have a visual search engine, right? Suppose, let's say I'm going from my home to office in the morning and I'm stuck in a traffic jam, right? And it's obvious, we look left, right, straight, everywhere. And maybe I like a person's shirt who is just right next to me on a scooter, right? And I feel like, yeah, even I want to buy this shirt. What I'll do in usual times, what I'll do, I'll once I reach office, I'll try to search, blue shirt with checks line with floral print, etc., etc. And trust me, Amazon or Flipkart would give me, right. I mean, it doesn't understand what you're trying to say. Maybe you cannot translate what you saw into the words exact. That's wherein,
Right.
what if you have a feature wherein I can take a picture of that particular shirt and upload that picture to any of the search engine. If let's say, this is the picture from a lot of the website, but recently Amazon Mintra has released it, visual search engine, where you can upload a picture, whatever you like. It will show most similar image from its inventory. That's how the world is moving now. You have to make sure you're picking up the technology, right? Maybe this can help you attract more and more consumers and improve your sales. The last part, how recently, the technology has been evolved. I'm not sure how many of you are able to see what I typed in. This is my personal experience, trust me. So this is from Grofers. I'm not sure how many of you are aware. This is, I would say, groceries online delivery, online, where you can place order and they'll get you delivered. So what I do whenever I'm ordering, my mom kind of sits besides me and she says, "Hey, you order this for me, you order this for me," in her native language. And what I do, I have a translator, Google Translator, where I'll type whatever word she has said and I'll see what it said in English, and then I'll type that here. That's first. I think I would say a mundane work for me. Why would I do that? Why can't these companies have multi-language search enabled? It's possible through AI, right? And similarly, semantic search, right? In the left search, if you see, I searched for rice powder, and it showing me detergent. So this kind of experiences make people think twice. Oh, no, 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 I don't want Grofer. It will waste a lot of my time. I'll probably switch to something which is better. And then if you see, it doesn't mean that this website doesn't have, or this Grofers doesn't have rice powder. If you look at the right side, if I search for rice flour, yes, it has rice flour, but it couldn't differentiate between powder and flour,
Right.
right? So I mean, semantics is something which every search engine is missing. And this should be our focus area when we are trying to enhance something or build any product. You should see the value of it, be it in the terms of revenue, be it in the terms of consumer experience. Before building anything, make sure you know its impact or value, right? I'll give you a simple example, right? One more simple example: semantic search. Maybe let's say, I mean, which I in fact build. I build multiple search engines for multiple clients. Wherein, maybe if you say, a, a pink pant, I want to buy pink pant. What do you understand by this? Is it that you want a pink color palette, or is it a big brand you want? There are a lot of such questions which go unanswered, and I say that I admit to it that even the recent semantic search engines, whatever we have plugged in, that's not kind of giving you the required answers. There's still a lot of improvements required,
Right.
right? So by this is one of the architecture, right? So before you actually implement, you try to build architecture for it. Okay, maybe it's not just one algorithm what you're gonna use to solve that problem. Maybe you'll use 10 different algorithms in a pipeline, and there are like different steps in each of the algorithms you would follow to solve it, right? You try to architect the solution first, have an architecture diagram, how do you solve it, and then go ahead and solve it. So this is the
Mm,
process what you need to follow. You have a
mm,
business problem, you try to define it first, sit with the business people, understand the data, understand what the business is, try to define the problem, and then try to architect the solution approach like you see here as an example, and then go ahead and implement it. Go ahead and do read underscore CSV, or PD under whatever, right? And then take your journey from there. So that's the element what I'm focusing on, and I'm making sure that while you're learning, while you're in learning phase, have it as a habit. Whenever you're implementing anything, whenever you're practicing anything, ask yourself questions around why I'm doing it, what I'm doing it, how this is going to add value to the business, right? And then you can detail out on the what approach you're going to use, what algorithm you're going to use, what are the different algorithms you need to try, and all of it, right? Similarly, we have like other use cases which kind of I worked on it and or implemented, which played, or which kind of had a huge impact on the business, right? This is one of
mm.
such where you have smart speakers, then you have AI lawyer for lawyers, right? Whenever you have any legal questions, you need to go through 10 number of different documents, or like hundreds of documents, and then probably you get an answer for it.
Yeah, right.
But what if you can build an intelligent system which will help you kind of parse through all the documents and get you the required answer? Chatbots. I'm sure everybody, at least in this year, chatbots have improved tremendously. You sometimes feel that, oh, is it a person who I'm chatting with, or is it a chatbot?
Right.
That is
Yes.
how it has improved, right? And I would say that there's a major role played by natural language processing and deep learning here to get you there, right? And this is gonna be our next focus area on the computer vision, video analytics, where I'm sure like most of you guys might have realized, but today, that all the cameras what you see in retail stores are not just for monitoring and security purpose. It's for improving the customer experience and eventually improving the sales,
Right.
right? With
Right.
this, you will know where people are moving, where people are focusing on. You can place your marketing strategies over there. You can do a lot number of things. You can do your product shuffling, etc., 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 right? Now, one more such major problem: retail product categorization. I'm not sure how many of you are aware of how e-commerce business work. All the products which are sold in Flipkart or Amazon are not their own products. There are sellers associated with them. Even you can sell your product in Flipkart if you have any. So they have a UI which will help you upload all of your details, like image of the product and details of the product, etc., etc. And then once you upload it, there is a team which is sitting in which approves all your details, and then finally you see that in the website. There's a process behind it. But then let's say that process, maybe 1,000 people were involved in that process to kind of get it up and running. Let's say I'm planning to sell shirts. I don't know
Mm,
which particular hierarchy I need to put in. Here you have like
mm.
clothing, under clothing you have women, under women you have multiple categories, right? The product which I'm selling, which category should I tap into? As a knave seller, I don't know that. I'm a businessman. I don't understand technology. I don't understand Flipkart's naming convention. What if I can just by the detail of a product, details of the product which has been uploaded, and just by the image, what if I'm able to classify it automatically,
Yeah, that would be great. Really.
right? So this is a typical automation where I mean every company was able to achieve a greater accuracy with this because you have tons of loads of images and data. You can do it either through text or you can do it either through images, right? And then
Right.
talking a bit about reinforcement learning, how it's playing a role in the recent industry, right? Answering how your consumer journey problem is. So typically, be it in a website or be it in offline store, there's a journey, right? Maybe you visit homepage first, and
Mhm.
second you visit maybe some category, third you visit some category, then you add to cart, so on and so forth. Understanding a consumer journey is, I would say, very crucial analysis you need to do before you arrive at and defining any of your problems, right? And reinforcement learning is playing a major role. And probably next best action. I'm just talking about few of the recent, I would say, implementation in every industry, what they are doing to kind of improve their sales, improve their revenues, enhance consumer experience, and all of it, right? And
Right.
similarly, I'm just like giving you the gist of few use cases of one of or couple of industries, but then AI is in every other industry, be it marketing, be it retail e-commerce. Like there are n number of use cases, be it in manufacturing, automobile, healthcare, finance, travel, HR, operations, and so on and so forth. So probably I think we can have follow-up sessions to dig deeper into each of this domain. Probably we need like more and more time to kind of get deeper, and maybe if required, maybe we can pick one of the use cases and do end to end, understand the problem, define the problem, then kind of convert that problem in definition into a solution approach, implement it, show the result. Once you have the result, you kind of have to refresh, monitor, do A/B testing and all of it. So follow the whole data science life cycle, right? But here I'm just for today's session, I'm just trying to give you the gist of how this problem to solution would look like, and what you as a data scientist should play crucial role in which of the steps, right?
Right.
So I think that's about what I wanted to talk. But before I kind of I'll open it to the audience for questions and Q&As. I'll probably have few closing thoughts, which I kind of talk about in my every session, be it for colleges or be it for any conferences, right? So if you are an aspiring data scientist, or if you are currently into a data science role, what type of problem you kind of encounter? Just try to think about it. What are the real business problems? You don't really need to deep dive into the techniques. You don't have to be the master of, hey, I know deep learning, all the algorithms. No, that is something which you can learn with the time. But just I would say focus on understanding what the problem is and how do you define that problem, right? I meet a lot of people who come to me and say, hey, give me a machine learning algorithm that will do what we do. I was like, what the hell? What is that? I like,
It's like
what's
you
the
have it
problem?
already. Why do you want ML algorithm to do it?
Right, exactly. Like, what are the? I mean, talk about your problem. I'll give you. I'll see what can be done. I'll see how I define it. Right. So, I
Right.
mean, it's they think data science or machine learning or AI is a magic. Every business folks think in that way, but it's not. Right. So that's wherein I tell people that maybe sometimes you don't need machine learning to solve your problem. All you need is some rule based system,
Mhm.
right? And the company
Right.
still thinks no, you need AIML. No, not necessary. So as you go in depth in your problem, you understand how you define it, then you will realize what actually you need to solve it,
Right.
right? the hard
right.
truth is that most of the companies still don't need AI. They can solve most of their problem with few rules and with few programmers, with few maybe a
Yeah,
small algorithm.
perhaps even with more accuracy than their ML counterparts, right?
Exactly, exactly. And then that you would only realize once you understand the business really well, once you understand what problem you are trying to solve,
Right, right.
right? So in my personal experiences, right, most businesses haven't defined the problem well enough for you to apply even a simple rule. Forget about you discussing applying the AI, ML, and all of it,
Mhm.
right? So when being a data scientist, I would recommend you forget about data science for a minute and have yourself in the shoes of business people. Wear that hat as a consultant or a business, where you're trying to understand what they exactly do, how their business works.
Yeah,
I mean, right? I mean, here like maybe I'll talk about 4 or 5 points for next 2 to 3 minutes, which I think you should have back of your mind always, right? So my first point goes something like this: you need to become a scientist of business before you actually be a data scientist. Spend a little bit of time on understanding the business you're working, maybe whatever domain it is, bt you're in retail, banking, healthcare, whatnot. Spend a little less time in learning new algorithms and python packages. That's fine, that's totally fine. And maybe more time learning the levers that make your specific business go up and down. Do
right.
your pre-work. When I say pre-work, prior to moving forward, on any of the ds project implementation, evaluate and ask questions. What is the action you'll be taking once you have the output, the business value that will be created based on the action? Ask n number of questions to the business people. I would say
Mhm.
asking questions should be one of the major point in your job description for a data scientist. That's how I see it, as at least. The more questions you ask, the more clarity you get on the business. Once you understand business in a better way, the better solution is what you can bring into the table,
Right.
right? So don't expect
Yes.
business to define the problem for you. As a data scientist, at least from a personal experience, I feel it's better we define the problem by
Mhm.
understanding the business in a more better way, right?
Right.
So that's my closing part, right? Make yourself the part of the business.
Yeah,
Proactively
yeah.
get involved with the business. What's the problem? Understand it, and then you'll have the solution by yourself. Maybe there are 10 algorithms which are required to solve that problem, right?
Mhm.
So here I'm not saying that you don't need to learn coding or algorithm or implementation, right? While doing that, just make sure you understand the business aspect, or you define the problem really well. Coding concepts are equally important as your business understanding and defining the problem is. So that's a weightage I'm gonna give, and that those are my closing thoughts.
Yeah, yeah, that was really very informative. So, like all those points really pointed to like one thing: you should be a good problem solver rather than directly jumping into code, like directly jumping into how to use the libraries. Instead of technology first, you should be like a problem first approach, and that's what I've like learned from you right now in the entire talk, right? So,
Yes. So
yeah,
basically, defining the problem, right?
yeah,
What exactly it is. So defining the problem and converting a problem once you define it into a DS solution approach or
yeah.
architecting it. So this is a major element before you actually open your Jupyter notebooks or open your
Hmm.
Python or whatever.
Right, right.
So yeah, I think that's pretty much I had. Yeah, this is the example what I was talking about. Google betting big on Air India, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's pretty much I had for today. I'm open for Q&A. I mean, again, the questions I'm expecting need not be from whatever we spoke for last 45 minutes or 1 hour. It can be of anything. I'm open to any questions. Data science, non-data science, regarding your career, regarding anything. What do you want to pursue? Long term, short term goal, anything?
Yeah, so guys, there who are like joining live us with right now, you can post your questions in the comments, and we'll highlight those, and we'll try to cover most of them today. So the first question is by Favin Fernandez, and he wants to know, should we allow AI to live on its own and be responsible for its own actions without an owner or a creator? So, like that's the question. Carry on to, I
No,
guess, will humans replace the jobs of AI?
no,
So,
I think that's gonna be a blunder.
yeah,
No, no. I mean
true.
that's what I mentioned, right? So whatever the product or the application we build, it should have its limitations and regulations, and
Correct.
that's by
Yeah,
the creator or the owner. So there should be ownership, there should be regulations, there should be limitations for every artificial intelligence work you do.
yeah. Actually, there's has always like I've heard that there is lot in research for making responsible AI, right? And OpenAI is such example for uh,
Yeah, and,
or
at least for next 10 years, it's far achieved. At least for
yeah,
next 10 years. I'm not sure about later, but for at least next 10 years, I would say.
yeah. So next, okay. So Rachiti Shah wants to know, can you please comment on hardware enhancement like RTX 3090? What do you think about future of the hardware, like in terms of in the context of AI and data science?
Uh, I I I would say hardware is definitely like I would say you cannot bake a bread without an oven,
Right. That's really good example. Like,
right? And that's how
yeah,
it is. That's how it is. So hardware, clouds. I mean, we don't need all of this. So without this, it's again far achieved. Yes, I agree. Maybe if you're implementing few simple things to solve a business problem, maybe churn analysis, maybe a search engine, maybe a recommendation engine, yeah, you don't really need all of those. But
right.
yes, but to greater extent, when you're talking about AI replacing human and all of this, you would definitely need.
Yeah, yeah, right. And like it's also one of the pillars, as you said, for ML being heavily implemented in this era. So
Yes.
one of that being is hardware enhancements, right?
Yes.
So yeah, so I guess that answers your questions, Rachit. And moving on to the next one. Okay, so Sam wants to know, most of the students nowadays are only learning machine learning and doing OpenCV things because they are cool. Having software development skill as well with other skill will help us. Will it?
I think this is a very good question. I
Yeah.
somehow missed to talk about this. So maybe if you go back like 4 years or 5 years, data science job role was like hottest in the industry. If you know data science, if you know all of this algorithm, anyone would pick you wherever you are. But today, it has changed. It has moved from data science to full stack data scientist, right? So as a data
Mm.
scientist, what we do, okay, we get the data, we acquire the data, we kind of do the processing, cleaning, model building, development, validation, and all of it, and then maybe we create an API and we deploy it.
Right.
Then along with you, there is a data engineer who is playing a role of getting you the data in a right format, and there is a role of DevOps who is helping you productionize your model, building an infrastructure for you. So basically, for you to build any AI product or any AI solution or ML solution, you need data engineering, you need data science, you need DevOps. And maybe if you need a UI, you need a web developer as well, or maybe a software developer. So these are the kind of, I would say, people which are required to solutionize one particular problem. What if one person can do it, and that I term as full stack data scientist. And that is wherein we have like huge demand. So that's wherein if you're into DevOps, or if you're into any other software developments, or if you're into data engineering, it's like changing things, right? I'm a data scientist. I learn engineering. You learn data science. I learn DevOps. So full stack data science is something which I mean, at least I foresee it's gonna be in huge demand in next couple of years.
Mhm. Right. Yeah, so I guess that answers your question, Sam. And yeah, like basically, you should be good in whatever the company requires right now. So it consists of full stack and data science both. So if you are trained in those, like they'll just pick you. Yeah. So Sanket wants to know, nowadays the hype of ML is very high, but does industries slash companies produce that number of jobs? So how to keep yourself motivated in this field? So yeah. Hello Akshay, are you there?
Sorry, I mean, your voice broke. Can you please come again?
Okay, yeah, yeah. So Sanket wants to know, nowadays the hype of ML is very high, but does the industries or company produce that number of jobs? And like, so how to keep your self motivation in that case to pursue
Uh,
the same field?
yes, I would say a number of jobs or openings. Yes, it's equally correlated with the hype what we have. But the problem is, even if you hire data scientists, I mean, organizations are, some of the organizations are still not sure what they need to do with them, how they need to utilize data scientists. What is the problem they are trying to solve? But since everybody is doing it, people are doing it, and organizations are doing it, but there is no definite problem, or I would say business problem defined. And for yourself to keep motivated, I believe, right, so if someone wants to get into this data science world or AI world, I mean, again, have passion for it, have curiosity, right? For me, right, if I'm working on something, I'm like, yeah, why this is happening, why this data is like this, what, how the prediction look like, have this curiosity. So that's how, like, you can get into this and then keep yourself motivated.
Yeah, and like one of the like inspiration is, that I got today, like is from you only. Ki you started as like a mechanical engineer and you followed your passion and like kept solving problems, I should say, and turned out like to here with us today. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
a really great example for inspiration and how to keep yourself motivated. Yeah, so I guess Sanket, that answers your question. Moving on to the next one. Okay, Pavin again wants to know, should we allow AI to live on its own and be responsible? Okay, I guess that's this is a repeat question again. So let's move on to the next one. Okay, Shivam Batra wants to know, what are your thoughts on explainable machine learning or AI? For example, you can use neural network for some problems, but it is very difficult to explain why a machine is making the decision it is making. Yeah. So your thoughts on explainable AI and machine learning?
Okay, another good question. So uh, I'll give an example which kind of I encountered a couple of months back, right? So I built a model which kind of predicts a particular tenant living or vacating. So when I say tenant, there is a huge mall, and the huge mall has like 500 tenants, 500 stores, 500 shops, right? And each of the shops are occupied by the tenants, be it Adidas, be it any of the brands, right? And I've built a model which would predict which tenant would vacate your mall. Now, let's say my model predicted Adidas would vacate in next month. Business was surprised. Adidas is doing really good in the mall. It's having generating good sales. Why it's gonna vacate? That's where in your model interpretation plays a role. Every business wants to understand if there is a prediction, how that prediction is happening. What is the reason behind that prediction? I'm just giving you one example, but it's very, very, very important. If you are building a parametric model, if you are building any of this, linear regression, logistic regression, yes, it can help you answer all these questions because it's a parametric model. You can frame your equations and you can tag your equation to the prediction. But what if you are building neural network? What if you are building tree based models? Interpretation is required. Yes, tree based model, yes, you will get a feature importance, but still neural networks and all of it, you would need an interpretation. That's wherein you have Lime, you have Sharp. There are a lot of libraries which have come in which will help you do all of this. So that's into explainable AI. Yeah.
Right, right. So currently, at least for the beginners like us, a neural network is like a black box. We just know what all
Yeah.
steps to do, what all steps to follow in order to make AI, but we don't know like how it works. And yeah, that's really good explanation from your side. So yeah, few more questions and like we'll wrap up. Next is Sanket wants to know, doesn't visual search engine affect your privacy? Yeah,
Visual search engine affect your privacy? Maybe I need more clarity on this.
yeah. So I guess like we shall move on right now. So because we have few many questions in the line.
Okay.
So let's move on to the next one. What are your thoughts about GPT-3 taking over the jobs? Yeah.
It
So
would not.
as we
No, it would never take off your jobs.
discussed, yeah, that's the straight answer. It won't. So yeah, I guess that answers your question, Aniket. And let's move on to few more questions. What is the future of AI and machine learning combined with IoT? Okay.
It's a deadly combination.
Hmm. Yeah.
I'll tell you why. Because IoT helps you to capture all of the data or all of the important or crucial data which is required. Right? IoT coupled with machine learning and deep learning helped save millions of costs to many of the manufacturing industry. It would help you predict the failure based on the sensors you kind of tie to the devices or the machines or whatnot. I think that's the era we are into now. At least in automobiles, manufacturing, and all of this industry, yes, all the data science, ML, AI related stuff is going through IoT.
Yeah. And yeah, I think like companies like let's say Tesla and all, they are at the height of their productivity. So I guess they are
Yeah,
currently might be using this combination together to increase
yeah.
their production levels. Yeah. So like two more questions and we'll stop with the Q&A session. Next, please. Okay, Akshay wants to know typically what is the process to be followed when implementing AI in an organization? How long would the implementation process take more or less?
No, I didn't ask this question. Sorry,
Uh, can you repeat, Akshay?
I didn't ask this question.
No, I'm sorry. Akshay Sargar asks a question. Typically,
I'll
what is
I'll
the
repeating it.
process?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
typically, right, the process followed when implementing. When you say implementing, yeah, I mean a solution to a particular problem using machine learning, deep learning, right? So as we have seen the slide, right, which talks about the data science process. That is the process what every organization or every data scientist will follow to kind of get from a problem to a solution. Now, to your second question, how long would you think the implementation process would take? So, like on an average, if there are smaller use cases like customer segmentation, churn analysis, visual search engine, semantic search engine, recommendation system, all of this again depends. Like on an average, it would take 2 to 3 months, right from understanding the problem, defining the problem till you kind of have a product in your hand, which does all of your work. So, but if you are aiming for like self-driving car, it's years. Again,
Yeah.
it depends on what kind of problem you're tackling.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I hope Akshay Sargar that answers your question. And like moving on to the last question, Shreyas Savai want to know which technologies are going to be most important in the future, like in terms of jobs. I think.
IoT, AI, blockchain.
Yeah, great.
These
So
three are going to be the pillars. But however, I'm not saying that other jobs not gonna be that important. Even the current, lot of the development work will still go on. But these three gonna be the highlight even for the next decade.
yeah, yeah, so I guess Shreyas, that answers your question, and I guess it's time now to conclude this session, and hope all of you who are live with us right now enjoyed this session, and it was quite informative. It was really inspiring as well for me and for like people at DC. And thanks Akshay for being with us tonight, and we really enjoyed your talk. Um,
Yeah, yeah, I enjoyed it, and I must say I was monitoring the comments, and the audience enjoyed it a lot. Thank you so
yeah,
much, Akshay.
And thanks a lot, Tanishka and Mihir, for a very good. I would say I've been to like a lot of conferences, but effort and time you guys taken to kind of make sure this is going to be a success, and collaboration. All of this was a key. I really like the way you kind of collaborated and made sure that this is happening. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
yeah. And actually, our audience was also really great. We had really good questions tonight. I guess. Yeah,
Yeah. We had interesting questions here.
yeah. So I guess it's time to conclude, guys.
Yeah,
Hope you liked this session. Please do fill the feedback form, which is we have linked in the description. And like you, by having this feedback form, you will be getting a badge for attending two or more events. You can show off your badge in on any social media platforms like LinkedIn. And please share us your valuable feedback. And if you want us to keep having such sessions, please let us know. And we are going to have similar talk on 17th September. So it will be on Angular and Google Maps. And hope to see you there. So signing off for today. Bye bye
yeah.
and take care.
Okay.